I want to get you out the door with every result from every league in under 15 minutes, so that you're more informed about what's going on in the world of sports.
Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler Sports and this is the Sport Report.
And I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports. Welcome to a special edition of this all-crazy sports newscast.
Broadcasting from somewhere in the United States.
Hit it, Blaze.
This is the Sport Report.
Thursday, June 13th, 2019.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler with Sports, and this is the Sport Report. It's time to get you caught up on what's happening in the world of sports. This is Top of the Order.
In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
This is Top of the Order.
Our top story comes from the TD Garden in Boston. We were going to have Sport Report NHL correspondent Jack Esper on today's episode, but we ran into a couple of issues. If you remember a few weeks ago, we sent Jack to Winnipeg, and we lost him. Finally got him back before the Stanley Cup Final, so this time we figured we would troubleshoot. So we sent a producer with him. Well, the producer forgot to hit record on the audio, and when he did, and they uploaded it to the server, it turns out the microphone wasn't connected correctly, so it sounded like the audio was coming from the top of Mount Everest. Needless to say, they are en route back to the studio safely and soundly. Jack will appear on tomorrow's episode to recap the Stanley Cup playoffs as a whole, and the NHL season as a whole. Anyways, let's get back to our top story. The Stanley Cup Final, Game 7. The St. Louis Blues defeat the Boston Bruins 4-1. Ryan O'Reilly, who would win the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is the Stanley Cup Playoffs MVP, became the first player since Wayne Gretzky in 1985 to score in 4 consecutive Stanley Cup Final games, and he's the only player in NHL history, Stanley Cup Final history that is, to do it in games 4 through 7. He scored a goal in games 4, 5, 6, and 7. Last night he opened the scoring account for the Blues. They added 3 more over the course of the evening, and they win 4-1, bringing the Stanley Cup to St. Louis for the first time in franchise history. 52 years. They will be playing Gloria all over the radio tomorrow. We're almost certain of that. Gloria, which is their anthem, their unofficial anthem for the Blues. Jordan Binnington, their rookie goaltender, had 32 saves, the most by a rookie goaltender to clinch the Stanley Cup. He also became the 6th rookie goaltender to clinch a Stanley Cup, as the Blues go from worst in the league on January 7th, 250-1 long shots at the time, to now champions of the NHL and holders of Lord Stanley's Cup. Road teams have now won 3 consecutive Stanley Cup Final Game 7s, joining the 2009 Penguins over the Detroit Red Wings. That was a fun series 10 years ago. 2011 Boston Bruins over the Vancouver Canucks, and last night's St. Louis Blues over the Boston Bruins. One last stat or tidbit for you. There has not been a lead change in a Game 7, including last night, since 1987, when the Edmonton Oilers came from behind to defeat Philadelphia Flyers. Last night was the 8th Game 7 since that series in 87. Now to cover some women's soccer results.
Name on the trophy. And Solskjaer has won it! Manchester United have reached the promised land.
This is your soccer update. In the Women's World Cup, there were 3 matches on the calendar. Nigeria defeated South Korea 2-0 to move into 3rd place behind Norway, who took on France but ultimately fell 2-1 to France. France is hosting this World Cup at a variety of stadiums within the country. France 2, Norway 1. France and Norway scored goals within 8 minutes of each other to start the second half, but Jeannie Le Sommer had a penalty to put France in front for good, 2-1. France now leads the group with 6 points, Norway in second with 3. Nigeria tied on points with Norway at 3 points, but trailed by 3 on goal difference. South Korea in last with no points. In Group B, Germany won on a 42nd minute winner by Sarah de Britz, 1-0 over Spain. The Germans now lead the group after having won both of their matches by 1-0. They defeated China on this past Saturday, 1-0. China and South Africa, the other 2 teams in Group B, will play on today's schedule. They will play at 3 p.m. Eastern, but the other match on the calendar is Australia versus Brazil, Group C action, 12 p.m. Eastern. Before we head to Major League Baseball, we'd like to mention that Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Toronto Raptors and Golden State State Warriors is tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC in the final match at Oracle Arena in the Bay Area. The Warriors are moving to a new arena starting next season. It'll still be in the Bay Area. Toronto leads the series 3-2 and has a chance to clinch their first ever NBA title in their 25 seasons as an NBA franchise. If Toronto can't close it out tonight, Game 7 will be on Sunday night in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre, and that is where the NBA title will be decided if it is not decided tonight. Kevin Durant confirmed that he had a ruptured Achilles. He will miss the rest of this series and possibly the entirety of next season, but that is yet to be confirmed. All we know for sure is that he is out for the rest of these playoffs. Kevin Durant's injury also throws a wrench into the plans for a lot of teams in free agency, but that is another discussion for another time. Another NBA news, Kyrie Irving has opted out of his $21 million buy-in with the Boston Celtics, meaning he's a free agent and free to sign anywhere or to re-sign a contract with Boston, which seems highly unlikely considering he turned down $21 million, but hey, anything is possible. With the NBA Finals tonight and the Stanley Cup done, it means there is one other sport in action, and that is Major League Baseball.
Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop. Ortiz into deep right field. Back is Sheffield. We'll see you later tonight.
Someday the Chicago Cubs are going to be in the World Series.
Now from Major League Baseball.
There were 12 games on the Major League Baseball slate. We'll start in Tampa Bay, where the Oakland Athletics defeated the Tampa Bay Rays 6-2. Ramon Laureano hit a grand slam in the top half of the 8th inning to put Oakland up by 4, and that is how the game would stay. Liam Hendricks gets his third win of the season. He's 3-0 with a 1.69 ERA on the season. Cincinnati Reds 7, Cleveland Indians 2. Anthony DeSclafani is 3-3 on the season for the Reds, as they hit 4 home runs on the day. 2 of those came back-to-back to start the game, Senzel and Votto. For the first time since 2001, the Reds lead off a game with back-to-back home runs. Arizona Diamondbacks 2, Philadelphia Phillies nothing. The Phillies were held to 3 hits on the afternoon as it became a pitcher's duel between Merrill Kelly and Zach Eflin. Eflin gets the loss. He's 6-6 with a 2.81 ERA on the season. Kelly improves to 7-6 with a 3.73 ERA for the Diamondbacks. Greg Holland gets his 10th save of the year for the Diamondbacks. Toronto Blue Jays 8, Baltimore Orioles 6, Miami Marlins 9, St. Louis Cardinals nothing. The Cardinals are back to 500, 33-33 after only collecting 3 hits on the afternoon. Detroit Tigers 3, Kansas City Royals 2. Shane Green, the Tigers closer, gets his 20th save of the year, meaning 20 out of 25 wins for Detroit have been saves. Brandon Dixon hit a sac fly in the top half of the 8th to score Jacoby Jones. That would prove to be the winning run, and Detroit's bullpen did the rest from there, shutting down the Royals' offense. San Francisco Giants 4, San Diego Padres 2. The Padres are continuing to fall off the pace in the NL West and the NL wildcard, but it's a little early to think about the wildcard. Padres are now 33-35 with an all-star type lineup. Joey Lucchesi falls to 5-4 on the year for the Padres, while Sean Anderson gets his 2nd win of the year for the Giants. Will Smith gets his 16th save of the year for San Francisco. Chicago Cubs 10, Colorado Rockies 1. The Sport Report went on the road to Coors Field to take in the game, and the Cubbies, they were up 8-0 by the 5th inning. They added 2 more in the 8th before the Rockies scored 1 in the home half of the 9th. Cubbies win by 9, salvaging 1 game out of the 3-game set at Coors Field in a rematch of last year's NL wildcard. Cole Hamels is 6-2 on the season. Sensatella falls to 5-5 for the Rockies, Hamels for the Cubs, and this game got a little bit feisty when Cole Hamels hit Nolan Arenado, who had to be removed from the game with what looked to be a shoulder injury. There were a few more hit by pitches throughout the game, including Anthony Rizzo, who was hit by a pitch in the 8th. He then stole 2nd, and then Javi Baez sent one about 30 feet from where we were sitting in left field a few pitches later. Those would turn out to be the 9th and 10th runs of the game for the Cubbies. 4 more games on the calendar. Boston Red Sox 4, Report, Texas Rangers 3. Mookie Betts literally walked it off when he was walked with the bases loaded. That would be the 4th run and the winning run for the Red Sox, who are now a game above 500 at 35-34. 3 extra inning games to finish the day. We'll start in Minnesota. In 10 innings, Seattle Mariners 9, Minnesota Twins 6. The Mariners scored 3 in the top half of the 10th to pull away from Minnesota. In 14 innings, Milwaukee Brewers 6, Houston Astros 3. In 7 innings of work, Justin Verlander had 15 strikeouts, a career high for him, but it wasn't enough. They went to the 14th. Milwaukee put 3 on in the 14th as the Moose, Mike Moustakas, had a home run to lead off the 14th inning, and that helped propel the Brewers to another victory. Christian Yelich scored on that 2-run jack from Moustakas, the Moose. Finally, in 11 innings, Atlanta Braves 8, Pittsburgh Pirates 7. Ozzie Albies had a triple to win the game, a walk-off triple, and that would win the ball game for Braves, who are now alone in first place in the NL East. That's right, the Atlanta Braves are in first place in the NL East ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies by 1 game. Other close matchups include the Chicago Cubs, who are half a game out of Milwaukee in the NL Central, and the Tampa Bay Rays, who are half a game out of the New York Yankees in the AL East. We'll start to cover Major League standings as the All-Star break gets closer, and even after the All-Star break, to update you on who's in the hunt for the playoff positions. Only 5 teams per league will make the playoffs. One more stat that we forgot to mention earlier, Edwin Jackson got his first win of the season for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's the first player in Major League Baseball history to win a game for 12 different Major League Baseball teams. Absolutely incredible. That's the Sport Report for Thursday, June 13th, 2019.
For now, I'm Chandler.
Thanks for tuning into the Sport Report today. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest in sports.
Do you want to contact Chandler Sports or members of the Sport Report team? Visit sportreportcws.com.
This podcast is copyrighted by the Sport Report for viewers to understand sports from a news reporting basis. Any other use of this podcast, Sport Report logos, or anything associated with this podcast without the express written consent of Chandler Sports is strictly prohibited.